Greetings everybody, we are in the AWS building. We're here with, to my right I got Evan Kaplan, CEO of InfluxData, and Pugal with Snowflake, the CTO of Snowflake in manufacturing. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Now, both of you are working with manufacturing company and handling data. Maybe talk about some of the fundamental changes you see happening in manufacturing on how they view the data.
Yeah, definitely. Originally, when the third industrial revolution happened, people always realized they need data to figure out what is going on a plant floor. Mostly it's reactive in nature, where something went wrong, line went down, machine went down, people scramble around for data, pull data from assets, try to correlate it, understand why it went wrong. There is a mind shift which started, I think, around 10-15 years back when Industry 4.0 buzzword, all of it started literally in this country. Where companies are slowly coming to realize data is far more valuable. It's not just for getting insights after something went wrong. Proactively, how can you learn about what is going on? For example, beginning of the shift, can I meet the shift goals? Can I deliver all the products which I'm supposed to do, or will there be any unplanned downtime based on the trend analytics? Those are all the mind shift already happening with people, where they have started to realize that data is valuable. I need to do something with the data. So that's what is going on. Instead of reactive, people are getting a little bit more proactive. So.
Thank you, Pugal. Evan, anything you want to add?
It's just to frame that in even larger context. It's something we talked about, you and I mentioned before, is we're moving from a world of digital twins to a world of physical twins, in which the data backdrop of all of these systems is the fundamental foundation, and the physical becomes an expression of that. You walk around the show floor here, there are robots all over the place, right? This is all about the data and the movement. And so the more these systems want to go from, as you talked about, in the beginning it was about some insight, about digging for a needle in a haystack, about some information. And then it's about patterns and insight, but really it's about autonomy. It's about increasingly smarter systems. It's about things that are run by real-world AI, not necessarily algorithms. It's about more sophisticated control systems. That's the journey, right? And you're right, you started your career and I started my career, because neither of us are that young.
Yeah, no.
I
started my career when it was just about finding the data. Now it's much more about leveraging it.
Yeah, thank you for the insights there. Now, InfluxData has built a platform specifically around the time series data. Why is the time series data so critical to IoT system, and what do manufacturing miss when they treat it like any other data type?
I think most manufacturers know not to treat it because it's so elemental. Sensor data it's everything. It's what happened, what's going to happen. Is the description, is the foundational piece of moving to autonomy. Right? That core operational data, what's happening in real time, allows you not to just see it, which was the world of dashboards, but then eventually to build sophisticated control systems. And so that elemental stuff is really, really important, knowing what's happening in the physical world.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. And now, what are companies, how are companies bridging the gap between collecting massive volumes of data and turning into actionable insights, especially in real time?
So, it doesn't matter if you want me to, I can answer that, but if you want
both have an answer.
Yeah, go ahead, I think
I think so. So there's a whole process that goes on of data engineering, and this is the IT-OT dynamic that covers both of our careers. Is increasingly, if you believe my assumption that the world is about physical twins, not about digital twins, then these data engineers, what they have to do is they have to collect the data about the real world, and they have to basically ETL it or send it to someplace like Snowflake, right? In which you take that data, then you take potentially business data, then you take unstructured data, and you bring it together and you build these sophisticated models that actually show you what's happening, right? And then you turn them into action. So where we are in that is we want to be the people who are fantastic at collecting it and turning it into action.
Right.
And I want to tell you where you are, but to me, where people should be processing or building that intelligence is in fact in platforms like lakehouses like Snowflake. So I don't want to...
No, I think you are spot on, obviously. Again, data engineering is very much part of the gig for any data we bring in. We are a data company. Quite a bit of effort goes into that. Obviously, when we get into manufacturing world, it gets a little bit more specialized because it's not traditional IT data, which people usually deal with really well. It's OT data. Because there are 300 plus protocols with which machines talk to each other, Modbus, OPC UA, MT Connect, the list goes on. And along with that, you also have various other PLC vendors, machine builders. If you don't know how to pull the data with contextualization, you're already lost the game. You just moved a swamp of data from edge to the cloud. It's of no value to anybody. So those are all the areas we have a good handle on it. I did that in AWS, now I have done that already in Snowflake. How do you bring the data in a contextual fashion into a Snowflake world so you can minimize the data engineering manual effort involved? But again, IT and OT convergence is a broad term. I won't say it will magically happen once the data shows up. It's a function of the use case. If you are maintenance, your needs are different. Quality, the needs are different. You are trying to improve operational efficiency, needs are different. So based on which you need a mechanism to bring it together. Some level is always needed, but give them better tools. That's why we also have a broader ecosystem like no-code platform like Tulip, low-code platform like Mendix. Those are all the players we work with to handle this data better as a use case function.
So maybe expand a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, and customers, obviously. Yeah.
Both customers have Influx and Snowflake. Okay.
Correct.
Expand a little bit about the modern data architecture and what does it look like for a global manufacturing today. I know a couple of years ago you launched the Snowflake in the cloud for manufacturing.
Yep.
Any updates there? What do you think about the edge and data lakes and interoperability across this platform? So
definitely. I think there's a bunch of questions. I'll start with the first one. So what is the modern architecture for data platform? Again, this is an evolution. 10 years back, my answer would have been different. Even like 6 years back, it was different. Now it has evolved a little bit more. You learn a lot when you interact with customers, new technology happen. I would say the first one, a modern architecture or a fundamental architecture for manufacturing, it's a hybrid architecture which spans edge and the cloud. And we need an ecosystem, more so for a cloud player. We are not in the machine connectivity business. We are not in the SCADA business, PLC business, or historians at the edge. We have to partner with an ecosystem of players to develop that ecosystem who provides presence for us in the edge. Again, that's why I see this partnership also becomes important because they are really good in doing edge level compute, near real-time compute, which we don't do it at the edge. Level 1 and level 2 analytics, I always believe that will happen only at the plant floor, not in the cloud infrastructure, but we still have to support it for the customer. That's where I see the modern architecture happening. It's an ecosystem of players where there is a well-defined demarcation between edge and the cloud, and also simplify and provide highest possible fidelity for data access in the cloud environment so people can consume it at the lowest possible cost. It's not about making like millions of dollars by moving data. Nobody wants to pay for that. They all want to pay for insights. That's where we are trying to focus as well as a data platform and also as an AI company. Once the data shows up, you can bring in the model from anywhere else, whether it is AWS or any other mechanism, or you can leverage the latest LLMs. We support all of it in Snowflake environment. You can get deeper insights. That's where we see as a modern architecture.
Thank you, Pugal. Now, Influx and Snowflake serve different but complementary roles in IoT data strategy. Maybe you reference a potential partnership here. Maybe how do you see this platform working together to deliver more value for the manufacturers?
Oh, absolutely. I think, So, you want to start?
So there's what's really nice about what's happening in the industry now is there's a recognition of not just in manufacturing, but the broader data infrastructure. So when we built our version of the database, this next version 3.0, we built it on a set of standards that we knew would integrate well in these lakehouse environments. So we built it on object storage, Parquet, and then Iceberg, right? And Iceberg is a table sharing format. So you can actually use Snowflake's query engine to pull in Snowflake, all right, to pull in unstructured data, to pull in the native time series data, and to begin to build models that make sense, machine learning models. It's unlikely that people would build sophisticated machine learning models directly in Influx, right? That's not, they do the first level of analytics very well, they might do simple models. If you want really sophisticated models that are really leveraging, you want to have a common store And the lakehouse environments in Snowflake's lakehouse environment are critical for that, right? And so the fact that now the standards are emerging so that these things work together really nicely. And this is only like, we've been working with Snowflake for a year on this Iceberg integrations, right? It's only in the last year that these standards are available and they're catching on. And so I think you'll see more in that. I don't talk to a customer in manufacturing that doesn't have some sort of data lake environment. Yep. It's typically been Hadoop or Cloudera. It's older, but now increasingly it's Snowflake or some of Snowflake's competitors.
100%. Yep.
Anything else you want to add, Pugal, to that? Or?
Yeah, again, I think he said it really well. The end of the day, it's a hybrid requirement for the customers. Mm-hmm. If it is near real-time analytics, we would always expect InfluxDB and solutions like that to take care of the edge-level analytics near real-time. Again, model building and that stuff like that, usually plant floor do not have the compute power to do that. They are going to do it in the cloud.
That's right.
And depending on use cases, you run the inference either at the edge or the cloud. That's how it's going to happen. Right. So it's a win-win partnership. More so now with the integration with Iceberg. So we see a lot more potential and deeper partnership, and that's what we are talking about to go jointly engage with customers as well.
I think the Iceberg thing can't be understated. It's the whole idea that if you believe in the fundamental architecture where there is a big data lake, data store, and even if you don't know what to do with the data, it makes sense to actually either downsample and keep it there, because in some ways it's like genetic data. You want to know it. You may not know exactly what to do with it today,
right?
But I guarantee you there are sophisticated data analytics people who are going to know what to do with that data over time to build the models. And so the collection's really important, but the building of intelligence is where the differentiation comes in.
Yeah, and I know Pugal touched a little bit on the edge, but we often hear about cloud-first strategies, but in IoT, edge often wins. How are the platforms adapting to the reality that most valuable insights often start at the edge?
Yeah. Again, I think I've been too long in the manufacturing business, and white hair shows well. So I never believed, it doesn't matter, AWS now in Snowflake, I always told the teams really clearly, they are not going to run production from the cloud. And there are also mission critical application which runs in the plant floor, whether it is ERP, CMMS, QMS, OT systems, edge historians, the list goes on. We are not in the business to go replace that. At the end of the day, we are trying to give them analytics, what they are looking to do their jobs much better. Best is, let's take a real world use cases, right? You are trying to do like a sub-second analytics. It's always going to happen at the edge. It makes no sense to do the round tripping. Quality control, mainly for vision-based quality control, it makes no sense even for me to suggest to them, send the image to the cloud and do inferencing. No, it is much cheaper, better, use case-wise, better to do it at the edge. Let's take another use case where cloud is friendly. You got two plants, one is consistently producing better than the other. First question which comes from them is, I want to benchmark these two facilities, find out why one is producing more than the other. You cannot do it at the edge. You need to bring the data into a cloud infrastructure, do the analytics. That's how the conversation goes. It always lets real world use cases that makes it super easy to break it into edge or the cloud.
Thank you, Pugal. And Evan?
Yeah, just as a final comment, I think what maybe and Pugal and I are sort of biased, but I think what we're both saying is that, like, if you're thinking about having an impact on your manufacturing environment, that you start with the data. This is a very different world. You start with the data, and the data will tell you what to build. It'll tell you how to build. It'll tell you how. And this wasn't true 20 years ago. The data wasn't good. It wasn't as available. It wasn't high resolution. There were no models for tiering it. There was no way to enrich it. That's really, really changing fast. And so it's exciting to be working in that part.
Yeah, 100%.
But you have more experience directly in manufacturing.
100%. Ever since Industry 4.0 buzzword started, hundreds of initiatives. So yeah, I've got enough battle scars, made enough mistakes in that, learned a lot. So that's where it is. Yeah.
So thank you both. Start with the data. That's the advice. And if you have questions, feel free to come and see Evan and his team and Pugal here at the Hanover Messa, or leverage the hashtag on the screen. Thank you.